Hey guys, what is up? Tabs here from the Urban Goddess shop. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be answering questions that you guys are asking, questions that pop up in the comments. And a lot of these I actually hear often, so I felt like this kind of video series would be good. Put the answers out there because I bet you a lot of people are thinking these questions as well. Let's start off with, if you ever have a question, drop it in the comments. I am happy to help you guys out. I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay, let's kick this right off. I have a similar question that was asked by two people. So first person is Liv Harvey and the second person, Shayna Harris. So the first question is, how do I figure out my keywords? Like, how do I get such good keywords into my listings? And I'll tell you guys this, it was a learning process. When I first started out, I did not know brands, I did not know styles, none of that stuff. I'm a pretty plain Jane, non-brand wearing girl. Well, maybe some like outdoor brands, but I'm pretty plain Jane. It was definitely like a huge learning curve for me to pick up all of these keywords. And my favorite tool to use for learning keywords is Google Lens. If you've never used Google Lens, it's just the Google app. I think you can have it on Android and iPhone. When you have the actual like Google search app, you just tap like where the Google search bar is, you'll see on the right hand side there should be a little camera. Now when you tap that camera, it's gonna go to the camera in your phone, and then I usually take a picture of the item. If I can't think of the keywords myself, then what it's gonna pop up is all these items that kind of match that picture. It may give you an exact match with the brand, the style, the color, all that kind of things. If not, it's definitely going to give you a bunch of other items that are similar that are going to be packed with keywords. This is like the best place to start growing your keyword knowledge. And even now, like I feel like I have a lot of keyword knowledge. I still use Google Lens when I'm like, I don't know what to call this, or I don't know what words to put in it. Keywords are very searchable. Another way that you can get good keywords is going into the Poshmark trends. Poshmark came out with a new feature this year and they're giving trends. And a lot of times it's like trending keywords, like things that people are looking for often. Something you can do when you go into the trends is think, do you have any listings that match these keywords? The keywords that Posh is telling you people are searching for. If you do, you can go back into those listings, add the applicable keywords, and then save. And that's just a quick and easy way to grow your keyword knowledge, also see the styles that are falling into that, and improve your old listings. Now, I personally haven't been going back and changing them from the Poshmark trends, but I know lots of people have been, and they've been seeing huge success for that. And I think like that perhaps I should start doing it as well. I mean, that is free information they are giving us. I hope that helps with the keyword knowledge. That is like the best tool. That is probably my most widely used tool. The other thing is just like, I've listed over 3,000 items. So at this point, I know kind of styles, colors, typical keywords. I tend to sell in certain niches, so the keywords are pretty regular. I source specific things. I think this would be a little bit different if you were sourcing at the bins and you literally were getting so many random pieces. I have a pretty narrow niche I feel like that I source for, and the keywords are pretty repetitive. Google Lens, good place to start. I hope that answers your questions. If you have anything to add to any of these questions or like further knowledge that you have that you use in your business, please drop in the comments and share with everyone because we grow and share together. You guys know that I am all about community on this channel. Next question. The name just says N, so I'm not sure who this is. I'm just going to lift my laptop down. How do you find out your buyer demographic? There's a couple questions in here. First, I know if you don't find out your buyer demographic per se, I guess. I feel like I source for my buyer demographic. Now, not everyone sells this way. Like lots of people just sell totally random, whatever they find. And that's cool. That works. I do work within my niche. So my typical niche is probably maybe like 18 to 30. Now, not saying that that limits it, but those are probably majority of the people I'm shopping for. If you don't know, one of the things you can do is look at your solds and what type of items are selling all the time in your closet. What are your recent solds from the last month? And which demographic of people do you think fit this? Like which age category. You can use sales analysis, so looking at your past sales and then determining which age category is shopping there. If you don't know this yet, it will come with time. It takes time to learn all of this. You are here at going on to my 3rd year. Like I said, I've listed 3,000 items. So I feel like sometimes the knowledge I have, it's just from repetition. It's from doing this over and over. I also kind of do research, right? I've talked about this before. I do research into like dresses, what's selling, jeans, what's selling, sweaters, what's selling, and looking at the brands. Usually I can go onto the internet and look on websites, find out who's selling these brands, and then I can kind of determine also my niche by the other items that this store is selling. Like, I feel like this is getting multi-level complicated, but demographic is just kind of like your age category. When you're outsourcing, who is your ideal like avatar? Who is your ideal customer? And I believe that if you can narrow down on that a little bit more in your closet, you have higher chances of bundles, you're making more sales, people will religiously follow you because they know that you are sourcing for them. Now, I think there's a lot of like random buyers, but I have a lot of repeat buyers or repeat likers because they're always looking for those certain brands, those certain styles, color palette, things like that. There's the long answer. I feel like it was probably more simple than that, but that's my long answer. Okay, let's keep going. Next one, Jada Kiss, and she has 2 questions in here, so I'm actually going to do both of them together. The first one is, what do you do when clothing says dry clean only? I will look it up and find out what are the washing instructions for those. Lots of items that say dry clean only can be, and this is like broad brushing it, but lots of them can be washed on delicate in your washing machine or in a sink. I would recommend looking up what is the material content and then Googling how to wash that, because that is going to depend on the material content. And I think for the example, you said you had a pair of wool Wilfred pants that are slightly wrinkly. Can I steam them? And you said you're worried about ruining them. So I do steam wool pants, like Wilfred ones, especially because, you know, Aritzia likes to make wool items, even though they're like the worst to care for. I will put the steamer on them, but I don't know. I have a Rowenta steamer. I don't know how it compares to other ones, but it's pretty effective. So I can just do like a quick run over it, and I've never ruined a pair of pants with my steamer. I'm not saying it can't, and I don't know how your steamer works. I would say it's probably safe, and then you just want to make sure that you let them dry before listing and bagging them, because you don't want them being, you know, like I think any listing, you don't want it to be damp when you're putting it into an inventory bag, if that's how you store it. Another question that she had was, she often comes across black items being faded. Is there any way to fix that, or should I just disclose it? Is there anything wrong with selling something that's faded? I don't know of a way to fix it. Personally, if an item is faded and I notice it in the store, I probably don't source it. Now, you can list it and you can disclose it. Definitely, you would want to disclose it. You're not going to get top value for it. I'm not a huge fan of selling and listing damaged items. It happens. I understand. I do end up with a handful myself, and I usually just disclose them. Sometimes if I feel like it's damaged beyond, like comparing what I paid for it for what I'm going to sell it for, if I don't think that that's big enough, I will actually return it right away. So I keep the tags on everything until right before I list them in case I have to return them. If I notice something, I would probably return it, to be honest, because it is frustrating. It is frustrating when you get home and you find out something is damaged. Like, it's so frustrating. Yeah, I feel your guys' pain. It happens to me too. And today I was actually doing some sourcing, and I made a point to check the items in the store one by one, which is something I'm really bad at. I don't find, like, I don't know, I don't get that many damaged items. My stores that I source at are pretty good at filtering through, but I have had a couple recently that have really just like irked me, and I was like, nope, today I am checking everything over. Well, I hope that helps you. And then her last question is, do you use Ziploc bags for inventory, or do you ship them in them as well. I do use Ziploc bags for inventory bags. I have a link down below in my description to the size that I use. I buy them off of Amazon in like a pack of 100 or 200. I don't actually ship in Ziploc bags, but I do ship out in poly mailers. And again, that is something that I grab off of Amazon. Here in Canada, we do not get a pile of free shipping supplies the same way as they do in the United States. We do have to purchase our poly mailers. I actually buy 3 sizes of poly mailers off of Amazon. I have a small size, and I have them all listed down below in the description, but I have a smaller size, which is like typical like shirts, skirts, you know, smaller items. I have a medium size, which a sweater folded up will fit in perfectly. And then I have a large size, which is for my bundles. If I have like a sweater, a pair of jeans, and a tank top in a bundle, or a jacket will fit in there. And then my worst case, like if items are just too big, then I'll go to boxes, which I get donated from work. Old boxes that they're gonna recycle, I'm able to take home and use for my business. So those are my shipping methods. The cost of the poly mailers, I think it works out to being maybe like 20 or 25 cents an item. So it's pretty minimal when you look at it from that perspective. And I think it's worth, and it's also streamlined. So I know a lot of people use recycled packaging. And for me, I feel like sometimes with the volume I'm doing, it's really hard to store multiple different sizes for reuse. I do not reuse poly mailers, but even for Amazon boxes, because sometimes they come in like all different crazy sizes, and that means I have to like store them until I use them. It's just not my favorite way, but I do not put items typically into a Ziploc and then into the poly mailer. I reuse all my inventory bags. I hope that helps you. Okay, let's keep rolling through. There's so many good questions here. Lots of information. I'm just like talking I kind of read the questions as I was screenshotting them, but I haven't really put a lot of thought. So you guys are just getting the thoughts like as they come. And I hope that everything makes sense. If not, drop in the comments, let me know, ask any further questions you have. Okay, so Trisha Krennick, she says, great tips as always, thank you. She said she sources a couple times a month. She said, do you mind if I ask how many items you typically keep in your closet? And this is a really good question. I only have 400 to 450. And I say only because I know so many resellers that are like over 1,000. I don't have a lot of room for storage. So if I had 1,000 items, I don't even know where I would store them all. My happy medium is like 400 to 450. I've kind of worked my way up to there, and pretty much everything I source, like my sell-through rate is pretty high. So I'm trying to list probably 30 to 50 items a week. Typically I'm seeing like 80 to 90% sell-through rate. I can't get over 450 because everything I list just ends up selling. Let's keep going on. All right, I got another comment here from Tom Power. He said, how many items do you require in a bundle to give a 40% off discount? I only run 40% off discounts usually around long weekends when I feel like, I don't know, usually sales are kind of busier on long weekends, I find. I will offer anywhere from 20 to 30% off. You only have to buy 2 items. For me, 2 items, I keep it nice and simple. I source and price to be able to allow for that type of a discount. I hope that makes sense to you. Like that's part of trying to get those higher ASP items, trying to keep my cost of goods as low as possible. There's also another question in here about Levi's, or not necessarily a question, but a statement. And I've heard this quite often, and people are asking like, how are you selling your Levi's for this much? I have a ton of Levi's, no takes on them, things like that. So I have a couple rules with Levi's. They need to be 501s, wedgies, or like a straight leg or vintage. I do not grab mile high skinnies. I will do rib cage ones as well. I don't know if I said that. I always look up the number on the tag and find out the exact style number. I put that into my listing. When I look for cover photos or stock photos, which just so you know, Levi's is on the Vero list for eBay, so you cannot use stock photos, and they can chase people down because they do go on that. So you are using stock photos at your own risk. That is up to you, your business, your decision. If I were to use stock photos, I would be looking for trendy stock photos in that styles, because sometimes when you look up a style, there'll be stock photo, like multiple stock photos for that one style. I try and find the trendiest looking stock photo to use for my jeans. I also make sure that my pictures are nice and clear, bright lighting, disclose any flaws, and I include all measurements in my listing. I will also copy the description from Levi's for that style of jeans, and then usually that has like all the keywords and stuff for that style included. Okay, I hope that helps. That is literally all that I do for any of those styles of jeans. So 501s, wedgies, rib cage, straight legs. I am listing minimum $75, anywhere from $75 to $85, and then I'm willing to give a discount on that as well. Hope that helps. I do believe with Levi's you need to, I don't know, I personally think when you value your items, other people value your items. And when you have items listed too low, people question whether they're shrunk, whether they're damaged, you know, things like that. Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's honestly all I do. I have no other tricks for Levi's jeans, and I don't know how I luck out. This might go to that demographic. Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking on this topic because I just had a thought. Was I'm zoned into my demographics so well that I know they want Levi's, they want an Aritzia sweater, they want, like, I know the style of clothes they're wearing. So when they come to my closet and they're like looking through everything in their size, it's pretty easy to build a bundle with a pair of jeans and a top or something like that if they want a complete outfit. I do think having multiple items in that genre of clothing really helps. It just keeps these people coming back to. Okay, this is from Melissa Axman, and she said, how often are you sourcing? And this is a good question because, as you guys know, I also work pretty much full-time hours, and I am gone, like out of town on weekends. I typically source 2 days a week. That is like maybe 1 to 2 hours each of those days. So if I'm working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I work 12-hour shifts, so I can't go sourcing after work. I will go on Thursday, Friday. When I wake up, I'm gonna put out my 20-25 listings for that day, and I'm gonna wake up early, drink my coffee, get my listings done, and then I'm usually ready to head out around 10 o'clock, and I'll go source from like 10 to 12. Then I come home and I might record my haul video or get things hung up, steamed, start going through them. Sometimes I like to have items prepped for when I have time to list. If it was like, say it was a Thursday, I might hang them, prep them to list them Friday morning. And then Friday morning, I'm gonna go out and source. Ideally, I try and keep that I always have items to list, and I'm always sourcing for like the next, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know, maybe 2 days, sometimes 1 day, sometimes 3 days. I definitely do not source every day. And I think part of it too is finding out which stores give you the best items. Like, which stores do you go into and you're always finding things? If I go into a store and I always only find 2 items, I don't prioritize them unless I have extra time that day, because to me, it's probably going to be a waste of my time and my energy when I can focus it into 1 store or 2 stores that I know have like consistent goods, right? Over time, you'll start to learn which stores are better than others and which ones you enjoy going to. And then also it's time. Like for me, time is money. We have 2 Value Villages in our city or whatever, and the one is about 10-minute drive from my house and the other one is about a 15-20 minute drive. The other one that's further is bigger. When I factor in what I find, I usually find the same amount of items in each store. It is more time for me to drive out to that other one. I just think, yeah, I don't prioritize it. If I can find the amount of items that I need to list that week in 1 stop, or I can get half of them, I'm not trying to source. I don't like sourcing like an entire day, because there's so many people going through our stores and so many resellers that if I only sourced like 2 or 3 days a month, I wouldn't find everything. Like sometimes I feel like you find things by just being persistent and sourcing on the days that you can. So if you had, you know, even if you could stop after work and you're like, I'm looking for winter jackets and boots to list for fall, then maybe you swing through after work and those are the only 2 sections you do. And if you can walk out with 2 jackets and 2 boots or whatever every time, you don't have to do the entire store. And sometimes I do that. Like in winter when the sweaters are out, I may swing through after work at 8 o'clock and just go through the sweater section and then get the hell out of Dodge and head home. I know the more I show up, the more I'll find. Okay, last question is from Sarah Green. And she said, hi, I was wondering if you find that you sell more clothes at higher prices than lower prices. I find that I have a ton of great pieces in my closet at affordable prices and even send offers on top of that and crickets. Do you think I would have more success if I raised the prices to make them seem more desirable? This is like a hard question to address. I've done both business models. I've done, you know, the lower sale price and volume, and I've done where I'm at now, which I think is kind of like mid average sale price, and I don't do the volume. I do feel like it's so hard to tell because we're comparing, like for me, I'm comparing data during a pandemic. There was a lot of stimulus going into the economy. People were shopping, they couldn't shop in person. And now I'm comparing it to now, which is the first year resell, like for me, my first year reselling where all the shopping has been open. But I think what you're asking is, should you just raise the price on these items? I think people that shop on Poshmark are driven by deals. And I've done like different strategies for messaging, different strategies for bundles, and something that I do one week, I may not do the next week. If it's not working the next week, I'm trying a different strategy. I have like a little toolbox of all these strategies that I've tried to make sales. I think you would be better off to raise the price if they're affordable items. Like I think I would need more clarification on brands and styles and things like that. But I would say raise your price, and then when someone likes an item, toss it in the bundle, send them a message. If they bundle, they'll save 30% off whatever number, and make sure you account for that when you're pricing your items. And I think people are driven by getting good deals. They're not even always necessarily looking at the dollar of the item, but they want a deal. They want you to give them a discount on it, right? It's kind of like a bartering app. I like when people just like buy things. Like on Etsy, people just buy things. It's not this whole bartering mechanism, but I feel like because we know people want a deal on there, you need to price to be able to give deals and without you losing into your profits. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Everyone runs different business models. If something's not working for you, then you got to change it up. You got to try something different. It wouldn't hurt, right? You could always raise the price on, 100, I don't know how many items you have, but say 30% of your closet, raise the items on it and see how it goes. Probably relist the item and raise the price then. Yeah. Those are my thoughts. There's a lot of questions in here. I hope this helps you guys out. Nothing in here is set in stone. I'm literally just speaking from my experience reselling. These are suggestions that I do or that have worked for me, but I'm always open to other people's opinions. If you have anything different, drop it in the comments, share with us, give us your thoughts. I noticed that you guys read each other's comments, and I think that's so amazing because it's not just me being the teacher, right? We're all teachers. We're all helping and growing together. Okay, I am out of here. This has been a longer video than I thought it was going to be, but yeah. All right, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I am wishing you all many sales, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Finally home. I've been gone for too long.